Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Jose Serrano from Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. Every video about destroying seconds and space at time. So this is another video before the last one is the episode 73. It was destroying seconds and space at time is different. Here's a plane crash in the aircraft carrier. The dragster collides in the wall. Even the Formula 4 Great Ritter crashes the blue Formula 4. Before I begin this video, please watch episode 20 and episode 73 to 72. If you want to request, please let me know. Grab some water, stand up, keep moving, and enjoy the show. The showtime.
So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. Get ready to experience 30 heart-pounding minutes of the most spectacular destruction caught on tape. The largest oil tanker in the Turkish fleet is blown apart when its volatile cargo catches fire and explodes. Off Australia, a sailboat with a family aboard and the Coast Guard vessel sent to rescue them are crushed by massive waves. It's adrenaline over the airwaves, and it's called Destroyed in Seconds. Istanbul, Turkey. A fire has broken out on the 920-foot oil tanker Tapeo, the largest ship in the Turkish tanker fleet. Firefighters struggle to extinguish the blaze as it grows increasingly out of control. The fire eventually spreads to the ship's holding tank, which contains 500 tons of crude oil. The blast from the ignited fuel sends a 20-ton steel hatch cover hurling across the bay. It crashes down onto two nearby tankers, severely damaging both. The force of the explosion shatters windows a mile and a half away. As night falls, the fire intensifies. Smaller explosions repeat throughout the night. Some uncomfortably close for firefighters. Fireboats move in to battle the flames. The fire's temperature now exceeds 3,000 degrees. Water is poured on the tanker for 12 straight hours. By daylight, the flames are brought under control, and the full extent of the damage is revealed. The extreme temperatures have mangled most of the tanker's steel hull, leaving it charred and brittle. Luckily, the tanker was holding only 500 out of a possible 86,000 tons of oil. No one is killed, but 29 people are injured. 24 of them firefighters who are not wearing proper safety gear. This disaster begins when a spark from a torch ignites a leak in a gas line deep in the ship. During the fire and explosions, 214 tons of unburned crude oil leaks into Tulsa Bay. After years of environmental restoration, the bay is returned to normal. One week a year, competitors from across the globe travel to Valdez, Alaska for the World Extreme Skiing Championship. These skiers tackle some of the most dangerous slopes on Earth. The judging criteria includes slope difficulty, aggressiveness, technique, air, control, and fluidity. Today, Garrett Bartelt is about to take his turn down the 800-foot, 50-degree slope.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, away.
But just moments in, he loses control.
There you go.
Oh, no! He's in big trouble.
One of Garrett's skis gets caught in the snow, sending him into a violent free fall. He tumbles, flips, cartwheels, and collides with jagged rocks along the way.
He does seem to be conscious.
37 seconds after it begins, Garrett's tumble finally ends. Rescuers arrive immediately.
He's got to be hurt.
Buddy, that was the worst ragdoll I ever saw.
Unable to move one of his legs, Garrett needs to be transported to the hospital. Although he flipped a total of 13 times during his long fall, his only major injury is a compound fracture to his leg.
Oh, right on those rocks.
Oh my God.
While in recovery, Garrett reviews the footage of his spill.
Sliding at the top there, trying to get my feet underneath me. And still couldn't do it. Now I'm catching some speed. At that point, I didn't really have any energy to try to stop me. It's all over from there. It was a bad one, but I'll still be skiing. I'll be out there.
The Formula Ford Series is a stepping stone for many young race car drivers. If you can make it here, you're well on your way up to Formula One. July 1999, Australia's Queensland Raceway. It's round 5 of the Formula Ford Shell Championship Series. These Formula Fords weigh 1,000 pounds and can go from 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. In third place is racer Greg Ritter. Approaching turn number 3, he's planning to make a move for first. But it will come at a steep price.
Side beautifully positioned. Owen gets hung wide and dry, and looking Ritter up the inside. They're going to go 3 wide as they head down toward turn 4. Big
It's round 5 of the Formula Ford Shell Championship Series at Australia's Queensland Raceway. These single-seat, open-wheel race cars manage top speeds of 140 miles per hour. Driver Greg Ritter is behind the wheel of the blue race car. He's in third place, approaching turn number 3, and is about to make a push for first.
beautifully positioned. Owen gets hung wide and dry, and look at Ritter up the inside. They're going to go 3 wide as they head down toward turn 4. Look, this guy. Ritter! Big accident. Look at him rolling along the grass. Goodness me, I hope he's okay. That was a massive impact.
The trouble starts when the racer in the yellow car bumps the white car. Then, the white car hits Ritter's car. Ritter's rear left tire drives up on Owen's front right tire. And that sends Greg Ritter flying.
Look how much time he spends upside down. Lifts the grass, lifts the car up, somersaults, barrel rolls, and that's just a shocking accident.
Goodness me.
Formula Ford race cars are specially designed to break apart in a crash. The force of the collision is distributed evenly throughout the car, thereby diminishing the impact. Only the safety cell, where the driver sits, is designed to stay intact. The top of the safety cell, the roll hoop, extends just over the driver's head. The sparks shooting off of Ritter's car are from his roll hoop scraping the asphalt.
Oh, I tell you what, Mark, I haven't seen too many Formula Ford crashes like that one before.
If not for this safety feature, it would be Ritter's helmet dragging along the track. The surprise is Ritter himself. His vehicle's roll hoop saves his life.
He's out. He's okay.
Well, that is a miracle. Look at him climbing out of the car.
Ritter's car is totaled.
Look at the damage. It's broken the gearbox off the back of the engine. Every corner's been taken off. It's just a crumpled heap of metal.
But when the Australian Formula Ford season ends, Greg Ritter walks away with first place. Lima, Peru. A 4-story plastics factory is engulfed in flames. Dozens of fire crews are on hand to put out the blaze. As black toxic smoke billows out of the 4-story warehouse, a snorkel ladder truck is brought in. But when the crew's efforts to bring the fire under control fail, a change in tactics is called for. 7 firefighters are sent into the building to take an offensive position, while the 2 men on the snorkel ladder are lowered. Before the men can get off the ladder, they're slammed by a backdraft. The explosive ball of fire consumes the men. Within seconds, firefighters rush in to help the 7 men still inside. Moments later, each is dragged out unconscious. Others tend to one of the men who was on the snorkel ladder when the building erupted. The injured men are taken to the hospital. Despite losing consciousness and suffering minor burns, all the firefighters recover. Rescue boats are en route to aid a distressed sailboat off the coast of Queensland, Australia. With a dead engine and a shredded sail, a man and his family find themselves in deep trouble as they drift in turbulent seas. While his family huddles below deck, all the man can do is wait for help and hope the waves don't capsize the boat. But the rising swells overwhelm the 27-foot vessel. Queensland, Australia. After receiving an urgent SOS, rescue boats are on their way to assist the vessel in distress. A news helicopter hovers as the boater awaits help. With his family stowed below deck, there's nothing the man can do to stop the sailboat from turning broadside to the surging waves. The violent surf overturns the sailboat, tossing the man into the churning sea. Fortunately, he had lashed himself to the boat and is able to use the lifeline to climb back on board. Even with a collapsed mast, the vessel stays afloat, drifting toward calmer water. Rescuers close in, but they're also pounded by the surf. A wave slams into the Coast Guard boat. It flips upside down, throwing the two crew members into the water. Utilizing a safety line, they're able to climb back on board. Now the rescuers are in need of rescuing. Finally, help arrives from the sky. One crewman loses his grip. The next try is successful. Moments later, the second rescuer slips, but is able to hang on as he's lifted to safety. The family of the sailboat ends up being towed to shore. All manage to survive this watery ordeal without injury. Commissioned in 1943, the USS Lexington served the United States longer than any other carrier in naval aviation history. October 29, 1989. The Lexington is on a training exercise in the Gulf of Mexico. A student pilot flying a T-2 Buckeye jet approaches the flight deck.
That's a little longer than groove, next pass one.
As two pilots, also in Buckeyes, wait to take off. This is the young aviator's first attempt at a touch-and-go landing. Conditions today are ideal.
Okay, you're on the power. Now wave it off, wave it off, wave it off. Watch out. Oh,
Carrier landings require a pilot to maintain a relatively slow and precise speed. But according to one observer, the Buckeye is flying too low and too slow. The pilot's last-ditch attempt to raise the nose of the plane causes it to flip over. The airplane's left wing strikes the carrier below the flight control tower. Just before impact, the canopy detaches from the cockpit, suggesting the pilot tried to eject. The plane collides with several other aircraft and explodes. As the flaming fuselage skids into the two pilots waiting to take off, both blow their cockpit canopies. Moments later, the men climb out to safety. The crew has the first fire hose in operation after just 11 seconds. Within 15 minutes, they've completely extinguished the fire. The USS Lexington suffers no significant damage. The T-2 Buckeye is completely destroyed. 19 people are injured, one critical. The tragic accident claims 5 lives, including that of the young pilot. By the time the USS Lexington is decommissioned in 1991, its flight deck sees nearly 500,000 successful landings. It's a summer night in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and things are heating up on the track at the Williams Grove Speedway. 24 winged sprint cars hit triple-digit speeds at tonight's feature event. The car's massive spoilers increase downward force, giving them greater stability. But sometimes even that's not enough to keep them on the track. It's a night of winged sprint car action at Pennsylvania's Williams Grove Speedway. The massive wings, or wicker bills as they're called, help stabilize the cars as they whip around the half-mile clay track. Wicker bills makes racing these small but powerful cars safer. But there's not much they can do when this happens. A collision at 120 miles per hour sends two cars flying end over end down the track. One driver escapes injury. But veteran Lance DeWeese isn't so lucky. He's unconscious after being violently thrown about the cockpit. His $50,000 car is totaled. Luckily, Lance not only regains consciousness, he's able to walk away. After getting a new car, Lance continues his racing career, having survived one of the most dramatic crashes in the history of the track. Bogota, Colombia. 4 concrete slabs weighing more than 2 tons each pulverize a car containing 3 people. How do massive objects like these just fall out of the sky? By being attached to this. A tower crane helping remove a eucalyptus tree tips over and pulls down the tree along with it. The crane drops its load of concrete counterweights onto a car that had stopped to pick up a passenger. The eucalyptus tree had grown so big that a crane had to be brought in to help cut it down. The collapse happens when workers saw off one of the tree's massive branches. They don't realize that the limb weighs significantly more than the 2,600 pounds the crane can handle. The extra weight pulls the jib arm down, causing the entire crane to come unbolted from the ground. The 3 very lucky people in the car managed to escape with no injuries, but only by a matter of inches. Cleanup crews work well into the night to cut apart the tree and the crane, then haul the debris away, removing all traces of what is the 3rd crane collapse in Bogota in as many months. I'm Ron Pitts. We'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.
Lifts the car up, somersaults, barrel rolled.
We're gonna die.
Without so much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. It's lights, camera, destruction, as we bring you some of the most jaw-dropping mayhem ever caught on tape. An explosion at an oil storage depot is so massive it registers 2.4 on the Richter scale. In Canada, a bull named Lights Out ends a rodeo rider's career in one of the most violent rides in the history of the sport. Don't blink because you might miss the moment when things get destroyed in seconds. It begins with flashes of light caught on surveillance cameras, and quickly turns into the United Kingdom's largest fire since World War II. December 2005, 25 miles northwest of London. A tranquil Sunday morning is interrupted by a series of massive explosions.
A lot of explosion, a lot of flames, 2 or 3 100 feet toward the sky.
The 50-acre Buncefield oil storage depot erupts in flames around 6 a.m.
Witnesses are reporting hearing a loud roar overhead just before the explosion.
Seconds after the first blast, surveillance video shows workers gathering in a garage near the source of the flames. The initial explosion is heard more than 200 miles away and registers a 2.4 on the Richter scale.
Look at the sky, man.
Although roads are jammed as residents flee the blaze, some actually try to get closer to the unfolding drama.
It's massive, and we're going to go and have a little look.
Andrew Dicker and his friend are determined to videotape the inferno. They drive as close as they can, then continue on foot.
Now, some of those flames are at least reaching 200 feet high. As you can see, we're right next to it. We're the closest anyone is at the moment. We're not allowed to be here. This is a massive fire.
Finally, after 4.5 minutes, even Andrew has had enough.
We've got to make a move now because we're expecting another explosion. If there is another explosion, we're going to die.
The fire rages for more than 4 days as flames engulf 20 massive oil tanks. More than 300 homes are damaged. 43 people are injured, 2 seriously. Total destruction, over $1 billion. The catastrophe is triggered when a broken safety gauge caused stored fuel to overflow its tank. The vapors ignite when they come in contact with a generator. Despite being one of the largest fires in England's history, no one is killed. Freestyle motocross, or FMX, is one of the fastest growing high-adrenaline sports on 2 wheels. Unlike classic motocross, FMX places less emphasis on speed and more on the abilities of daredevil riders to perform death-defying tricks. The most elusive trick for many is the backflip. To pull off the stunt, you need a popper ramp, which enables riders to pop the bike high into the air. When learning the stunt, today's riders use foam pips to cushion hard landings. In 2003, second-year pro freestyle rider Nate Adams is attempting a backflip for the first time. Because foam pits aren't yet widely used, Nate doesn't have one to practice with.
All right, boys and girls, this could be it.
But he'll wish he had.
Okay.
Nate hits the ramp perfectly, but doesn't lay on the throttle hard enough to generate the inertia required to complete a full rotation. He's so committed to the stunt, he doesn't let go of the handlebars. He slams to the ground, and his 228-pound motorcycle slams into it.
It's okay.
His friends rush to his aid. No one is sure of his injuries.
You're gonna be all right, bud.
Yeah, Nate, dog!
Nate suffers a concussion, a broken collarbone, and a dislocated shoulder.
That was a hard slam, brother.
He recovers quickly and is back competing just a few weeks later. Since 2003, he's gone on to amass one of the most impressive resumes in freestyle motocross, becoming the first person to beat the world-renowned Travis Pastrana in a professional competition. Today, the backflip is Nate's signature move. He can complete more variations of the trick than nearly any other rider competing. He's also the first rider to pull off the backflip and land completely hands-free in competition. San Antonio, Texas. Statistics show that riding the bus here is as safe as any comparably sized city. But with 90 bus lines traveling 2.5 million miles each year, the fact of the matter is, accidents do happen. In June 2008, San Antonio installs surveillance cameras on their more than 400 city buses. Out of the accidents captured on tape, some appear to show reckless behavior on the part of the operators. Here, a driver is texting on his cell phone while behind the wheel of a moving bus. The impact forces the SUV into the van in front of him. Two handicapped passengers are on board the bus. Neither is injured. The driver of the SUV sustains injuries to his neck and back. As for the bus driver, he's fired over the incident. As this driver pulls away from the curb, he hits a van, pushing it across two oncoming lanes of traffic toward a pedestrian, and keeps on going. At the next bus stop, the motorist confronts the operator. The bus driver has a unique way of responding. The van's driver later files a complaint with the city. In another instance, two San Antonio buses on the same route stop at the same locations. It's business as usual until... the bus driver rams the second bus at 25 miles per hour. Inside the bus, a handful of passengers are violently thrown about. The bus that's hit is significantly more crowded. A total of 23 people on both buses are hurt. None of the injuries are life-threatening. Despite what's captured on the video, studies show that riding a bus is 38 times safer than taking a car. Some liken top-fuel dragsters to rockets on wheels. They can go from 0 to 300 miles per hour in less than 5 seconds. To achieve such fast takeoffs, drivers first perform what's called a burnout. The friction creates heat, which softens the tires so they better grip the track. Racer Darren Morgan pulls up to the line and prepares to take on a competitor, unaware that he's not going to make it more than 200 feet down the track. All 5 bolts on Morgan's right rear tire suddenly shear off. The wheel goes flying. Morgan's dragster rolls on its side and skids across the track. Bystanders run for safety as the car slams against the wall. The chassis crumbles and its parachute deploys. Morgan skids down the track before finally coming to a stop. The emergency crew is quickly on the scene. They spray the wreckage to prevent a fire. Morgan walks away with just an injured finger. He's back racing 3 weeks later. According to Morgan, how all 5 wheel bolts failed at once is a complete mystery. As for his dragster, it takes more than 600 man-hours and $200,000 to repair. It's been called the most most dangerous 8 seconds in sports. That's how long a rider has to stay on the bull in professional rodeo riding. And the rider is only allowed to hold on with one hand, while the raging animal bucks, rears, and spins. At the National Rodeo Finals in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Greg Whitlow is about to ride a 1,400-pound black bull. 2 years earlier, Greg lost an eye during a ride when he was cored by another bull. But that hasn't stopped the 27-year-old. Greg is able to hang on at first, but then the bull called Lights Out lives up to his name. After a clean start out of the chute, Lights Out spins to the left. Then, 5.5 seconds into the ride, Greg takes a direct hit to the head. Knocked unconscious, he takes a second hit to the head. Greg's limp body finally drops to the ground, but Lights Out isn't done. Fellow cowboys and arena workers finally lure the bull away.
Greg Whitlow gets knocked in the head.
Meanwhile, Greg lies motionless on the dirt. He stabilized, then rushed out of the arena with severe head injuries. He spends 6 weeks in the hospital. Greg's wild ride becomes the last of his career. While in recovery, he decides it's time to retire. 10 a.m. in Bilbao, Spain. A regional terrorist group has called in a bomb threat. Police arrive and evacuate several blocks in this usually bustling city. The caller states that a bomb is stashed in this van and will detonate in front of a local TV station in 1 hour. In the neighboring residential area, locals are instructed to stay inside. The bomb squad arrives. News crews in various parts of the city train their lenses on the 6-story TV station building. Then, as people run for their lives, the blast blows out scores of windows on the building's facade and sends a plume of smoke high above the city. Firefighters move in to douse the flames. The van, seen here pulling up to the building rigged with over 220 pounds of explosives, is reduced to a burnt shell. The building suffers no structural damage. The TV station is back up and running within hours, even with shards of glass blanketing the floor. No one is killed in the attack, and there's only one injury, a station employee who suffers ear damage from the explosion. It's 40 laps of Formula One boat racing in Winter Haven, Florida. As these F1s fly across Cypress Gardens Lake at top speeds, only about 2 inches of the hull are actually touching the water. Today is the last heat before the finals, and Mike Siebel is on pace to win the championship. As Mike hits over 100 miles an hour, he opens it up on the straightaway. Then, in a split second, everything changes. Since the lightweight body rides largely on a cushion of air, it doesn't take much to send a boat tumbling. In this case, it's a sudden gust of wind. Another angle reveals a competitor's boat colliding with Mike's debris and not stopping. The race is stopped as rescuers rush to the scene. To everyone's surprise, Mike is not injured. Despite the damage to his boat, he's able to make repairs and race it again the next day. I'm Ron Pitts, and we'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.
That video was intense. Here's the space of time. This is the last video of the story seconds and space of time. Remember, just hear the music. that's gonna be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please watch the previous video, episode 20 and episode 72 on this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Good night. We'll see you next time.